Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. I have so many nerdy stats from this Vikings victory, I can't even pick one.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. It's easy for me to pick my stat. I have one.
Hey, this is Arif from the Wide Left Substack. I never thought I'd say this sentence, but Jimmy Butler got Panic in the Disco stuck in my head.
And we'll also talk about how DJ won him the game on today's Minnesota Football Party.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party.
What's up, everybody? A new week on the Minnesota Football Party. I am Sam Ekstrom, the host. You met Arif Hasan of the Wide Left Substack. You met Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. We're here to talk about a Minnesota Vikings victory for the first time in what seems like ages, going back to Week 18 of last season. And yes, that includes preseason games as well. What do you want?
Can I ask real quick if Luke's nerdy stat is the number of wins the Vikings have or something trite like that?
No, it's an ABA thing.
Okay, cool. I didn't want that. It's boring. That's stupid.
It would actually be great if you totally straight-faced it and said, yeah, the Minnesota Vikings are 1-3. There have been
the only stat that matters, baby.
There have been 4,000 teams in the history of the NFL go 1-3.
Actually, even more trite would have been the Vikings are 1-0 coming off of this week. That would have been awful.
Oh yeah, there we go.
In the Carolina championship season, they were the champions. Or, of course, talking about the Vikings' 21-3 victory over the Panthers, what it means for their hopes this season, the defense fueling the victory on a very bad Kirk Cousins day. I've got loads of nerdy stats to sprinkle in and a guessing game for Arif and Lucas that I think we all might enjoy. But first, this show brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook partner of Locked On. Make every moment more. Go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. And before the show is over, we will reveal the parlay updates from yesterday. One of us was a winner. I'm not going to say who. You'll have to stay tuned for the unveiling. Vikings win 21-13. Luke Braun. We did the postcast yesterday with Ron Johnson. We reacted to it. The defense fueling the victory. My question is, was the defense indeed legit? Or were the Panthers just a ramshackle operation with no real serious intentions of winning football games and a quarterback that seems extremely overmatched and a stable of skill players that seem all too mediocre? Which was it? Should we be impressed by the Vikings defense?
Yeah. I mean, what do you expect against a bad offense? You expect giving up 6 points, right? And not more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like the kind of performance we would want from the defense against them. And like the plan they came up with in terms of like how they utilized blitzes and blitzing less often this time worked very well. Generated 5 sacks, lots of pressure, had just enough, like kind of turned the heat up just enough on Bryce Young to really make that offense fall apart. Outside of the 2-minute drill that came off the turnover, the pick 6, and one other field goal drive, they could not move the ball. Everything else was either punts or turnovers.
Yeah, I think for the context of that question, you would need to, I think, ask yourself beforehand, is it possible for the defense to have impressed me heading into this game, given who they're playing? And if the answer is no, fine, whatever, fine. But if the answer is yes, this is definitely what it would look like, right? Like it is... I think a high-level defensive performance. They held the Panthers to, I want to say, their worst offensive production this year, which is saying a lot given how bad the offensive production for the Panthers has been. And I think that they found the problems with the Panthers offense, exploited them, maximized them, dug into them, made sure the Panthers were more about their weaknesses than their strengths. Obviously, they still allowed some gains. Every defense is going to, but certainly I think, this is what you want the defense to do in this circumstance. And again, you can say, hey, the defense is set up in a situation where they can only disappoint me, which is a weird place to be, but I get it. And then in which case that you'd have to find a good offense for them to go up against, but they can't pick their schedule. So in the context of who they were playing and what the expectations are against a bad offense, yeah, I agree. I think that the defense looked pretty good. And I think two things kind of stood out to me, if I'm allowed to go into just a little bit more detail, which is that A, the return of Marcus Davenport was absolutely hugely meaningful.
Loved it.
And B, I think that they used Harrison Smith. I think that they adjusted Harrison Smith. I think that keeping him away from kind of high safety type looks and keeping him closer to the line of scrimmage. You don't have to blitz him all the time for him to be effective, but I think that, maximizing him involves having him closer to the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what they did, which was nice to see.
Yeah, we'll see what the blitz numbers reveal. I haven't seen them tweeted out or reported anywhere yet, so I'm waiting for PFF, but it felt like
Seifert said 31%.
What? That's barely above league average. What are we doing here?
I'm also gonna correct you on that because I think we got to give Seifert his correct last name.
Yeah. 30.8 Seifert. Is it? Oh man, I've been saying that wrong this whole time.
Yeah, you have. Oh, God.
Sorry. Kevin.
Usually when it's E before I, you would pronounce the I, so I get why you would look at that and say Seifert, but yeah, Seifert. 31%, so the lowest of the year. So is this a tell that when Flores faces a bad quarterback, that he's going to rely on the coverage more? And then sort of the counterintuitive approach with someone like Herbert, who they want to get off schedule, and would they do the same with Patrick Mahomes 6 days from now? That is the big question. But I love how they deployed the blitzes. Harrison Smith just screaming off the edge. Fun to watch a vintage Harrison performance like that. He strips it out.
A tackle. Just winning a pass rush against.
Yeah, just a straight edge rush, rip and dip. Just okay, sure.
All right, buddy.
That's
in
your arsenal now.
Third sack of the game. End the game on that. I guess that's the thing we can do. It's so wild. Like, that's such a matchup. Like, an offensive lineman's like, ooh, I get a DB this rep? Fantastic. And then losing that rep.
Right.
Like, oh,
I literally outweigh him by exactly 100 pounds. This should work.
It wasn't Chandler Zavala, was it?
No, it was Icky, right? Or is he on the right?
Was it Icky?
He's
I
left.
think it was Icky.
He's a left tackle, yeah. Unless he was hurt or something, but I don't know.
Here's my first of many deep dive stats in this show. Vikings allowed 3.4 yards per play. That is only the 9th time in 25 years the Vikings have allowed 3.4 yards per play or less in a game. And they've faced plenty of unserious teams. Think of all the Lions teams over the years. Think of all the Bears teams over the years. So this was an above average defensive performance against a bad team compared to all the bad teams they've faced. So I am going to give them their flowers for a really strong day where it felt like, other than one drive early where the Panthers kind of bullied them on the ground and then stalled out, and then late picking up some softer yards, Vikings playing a little bit deeper, making them drive the field. I didn't feel like they gave an inch. I mean, they were very consistent all day long. Adam Thielen got banged up, seemed like he was more ineffective after that. But coverage
classic Adam Thielen
working together. Say again, Arif. What?
I said classic Adam Thielen.
Classic
vintage
Thielen. Yeah. I mean, we've had it before, right? Where like he does really well, gets hurt, and then guts out the rest of the game to his credit, but it's just not the same player.
Two really major goal line stands too. One in, I think it was the first quarter, where they had 2 first and goals. Yeah. 6 plays all the way down to third down, all the way down to third down again after a penalty, and forced the kick. And then the other one that ended in the 4th and 18 at the very end of the game.
You said
I guess that's not a goal. I wouldn't call it a goal line stand, but goal to go stand.
Goal to go.
Red zone
stand. You said 3.4 yards per play, right?
I did.
Remember against the Bucks, they only allowed 3.6. I mean, the defense I think the defense fundamentally has like some good elements to it, which distinguishes it from the Donatel defense, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of
sometimes.
Well, explosiveness is part of it, but also turnovers and field position.
Yeah.
Not that against the Buccaneers, that was it, right? Because there was a high scoring rate on a per drive basis. So you can't just point to, hey, they got like 3.6. But like, I just think that there's more here to this defense that fundamentally works than doesn't work. And they've just been put into these circumstances, or there have been circumstances that have papered over kind of the consistency that the defense can actually, show on a game to game level. So, I mean, I like the defense relative to what they had heading into the season. Obviously, if the team is going to be successful, it's going to be offensively driven, but there's like stuff here with the defense to work with.
No doubt about that. And the defense produced a touchdown yesterday on the DJ Wanham scoop and score. There's nothing better than a big man running the field. I love it. I live for it. Linval Joseph, Afadio Denebo, DJ Wanham. I mean, those are the touchdowns you remember. Good for DJ Wanham for getting to the house, giving the Vikings the lead, and completely turning that game on its head. This was not a good day for the Vikings offense. And we're going to dive into why that was the case as well. But a quick word from FanDuel, FanDuel.com/lockedon. You can make every moment more with America's #1 sportsbook, and you can take advantage of some of the great offers that FanDuel gives you. New customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 wager. Just bet 5, and win or lose, you get $200 into your account guaranteed. Been thinking about joining FanDuel? Now's the time. We're 4 weeks into the NFL season. There's still 13 to go. No, 14 to go. It's a longer season now. That's great. Many opportunities to bet spreads, player props, over-unders, futures. You can bet outside of football as well. It's not limited to the NFL, though that is one of their most robust ways to wager. The NFL season is in full swing, so go to FanDuel.com/lockedon today and get started. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. All right, defense, very good. Offense, not very good. Before we talk offense, though, while we're on the subject of defense, I've got a little guessing game that you guys are going to play Family Feud style. In the last 6 Vikings-Panthers games, there has been an anomalous 8 defensive or special teams touchdowns in 6 games. Mm-hmm. Can you name the scorers of those touchdowns? Or less specifically,
the Family Feud style means we don't buzz in or we do buzz in?
Collectively, can you run the table without getting 3 strikes?
Chad Greenway.
Do you want to consult your partner on that?
Luke, do you think Chad Greenway is one of the answers?
I don't remember that one, but you sound pretty confident. Let's go.
X.
Wow.
Jeremy Chin.
I think it's Chargers game. Jeremy Chin twice in 2020, back-to-back plays, scoop and scores. Yes, that is correct.
Do we have a Marcus Sherrills?
Have we had too many games between Adam Thielen, the 2014 one?
Oh.
So Arif, Marcus Sherrills.
Did he score? I don't know. Yeah.
It was a punt block. It was a touchdown.
Okay.
But I don't remember if there have been, because he said the last 6 games.
Luke, before we move on to the Adam Thielen question, how are we in the Marcus Sherrills one?
Oh, yeah. 2016.
Okay, great. Marcus Sherrills.
That is correct.
Ding. Okay, so Adam Thielen, he scored on special teams. Are you sure? It was a punt block?
Yeah, it was a punt block. It was it was his first ever touchdown.
Cool.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, so we need how many more?
2 more? Well, one's DJ Wanham.
Yeah, DJ Wanham.
I won't make you get yesterday's. So you have 2 more.
Okay.
Okay. Not including Wanham.
And there is also a bonus point for someone who got a safety in the game.
Daniel Hunter.
We're probably too far
against Cam Newton.
That's correct. Okay, 2 left.
Huh.
One of them is a Viking. One of them is a Panther. If you get the Panther player name, you get $1 million.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
I'm good for it.
I'm thinking like other Panthers. When's the last time we played the Panthers?
Yeah, geez.
2020 Bizarro Chad.
I'm
Beebe game.
remembering like Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess and Greg Olson, and it's like those aren't special teams. That's not
Mike
defensive.
Minter. What?
Yeah, well, screw it. I have no idea.
All right, so Arif gives up. He's a quitter. Luke Braun,
Yep.
are you also a quitter?
100% a quitter.
Audi Cole.
If this was preseason,
Audi.
that would be a great guess. The correct answer is Everson Griffin, a blocked punt return. And then in 2021, the Panthers' Kenny Robinson blocked a punt for a touchdown in the eventual overtime game.
Oh, was that the Chad Beebe game?
No, that was the year. That was 2020.
That was 2020.
That was the Jeremy Chin game.
Oh, the 2021 was in Carolina.
Yeah, Osborne, overtime.
Yeah, I didn't remember that at all.
All right, thanks for humoring me on the game. Now let's talk about the offense. The bad offense yesterday. Cam Akers, positives. Cam Akers, very good. Justin Jefferson, very good. Again, dodged an injury scare.
85 yards. Come on, Sam.
2 touchdowns.
85 yards.
Although he did
Just
go
85.
under. He did go under the total.
Yeah.
Leading receiver of the game. Pedestrian day for him.
Yeah.
The Vikings ran. Here's my second nerdy stat of the day. And we haven't even reached the official segment nerdy stat of the day. This is just my unofficial second nerdy stat of the day. The Vikings ran 44 offensive plays. First time in team history they have won a game running fewer than 45 plays.
Normally the reasoning for that would be like an extremely explosive offense that, and the defense just stays on the field the whole time. And that's not really what happened.
Well, previous examples of the Vikings running less than 45 plays only happened 4 times. They were not explosive. That was
right. But I mean,
that was Brooks
Bollinger.
Brooks Bollinger at Green Bay, Christian Ponder against Green Bay at home, McNabb in San Diego.
Right. But my point is, in a winning effort, you get fewer than that when they were explosive. Like with 40 some
How many
plays.
plays did they run in 2020 Lambeau game? The windy game where it was. I remember there being 8 possessions for each team.
Well, they scored a lot though.
You mean 8 possessions total, right?
Yeah, like 8 possessions for each team.
12 was pretty. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, 12 is standard.
Yeah, you can look that one up, Ron. But Kirk Cousins was like his air yards. Haven't looked at it. Guessing it's super low. Very conservative. Very check downy.
It's not. It wasn't that bad. He had what, 2 throws over 20 yards, 4 over 15 yards, but he only had 19 or something throws. So his ADOT wasn't too bad. I remember looking it up from RBs Don't Matter, and it was fine. It was kind of average. Now Bryce Young's ADOT was 3 yards. That was and the Vikings have been good against screens all year actually. So
they have to be, because that's every team is going to screen the absolute hell out of them.
Yeah.
What was Kirk on the chaos meter yesterday?
I put it in the gray, but that's a vibes thing. There's no data in the chaos meter. That's a decision made by gods.
And the gray, and tell the people what gray means.
For those who are unfamiliar, the Kirk Cousins chaos meter is a divine artifact that measures just how chaotic Kirk Cousins' game was by reading the threads of fate. So if it's in the gray, that's the lowest it can be. That's conserve a Kirk. That is a Kirk Cousins that holds the ball, gets sacked a lot, checks down a lot, kind of has offense. Maybe the best example of that game would be the 2018 season ender against the Bears, where it just sort of suffocated. There's also game manager Kirk, where he just, it's kind of on someone else. Somebody else has a fantastic game. Dalvin Cook scores 4 touchdowns, that kind of thing. If it's in the green, that's peak optimum Kirk. That's the ideal, the platonic ideal of Kirk Cousins. And then if the chaos ratchets up too far, you get something like the 2018 Bills game where we have a million fumbles, or the 3 interception performance against Atlanta in 2020. That's chaos, Kirk. That's too much. That's kidneys on the grill.
Tone it down, Kirk.
Yeah, hecking tone it down, please. That's plexiglass case, Kirk.
By the way, the ADOT was 8.2, which is in the 48th percentile. So it was basically average.
Okay, thank you. There's Arif's unofficial nerdy stat of the day.
I'll take it.
The interception was obviously unacceptable. I thought there was some other.
You mean the first one, right? Because the
first one. Second one a little less so.
That was one of the worst picks I've seen him throw, honestly. I was
really bad.
Shocked. Yeah.
But you know what? There were some other really questionable third down throws too, where it seemed like he was laser vision on Jefferson, and then overthrew him when there wasn't a big window. Like the 3rd and 2, where he looped it, trying to fit it in the eye of a needle on the sideline. That was weird. Some weird decisions.
Rough
yesterday.
ball.
Yeah.
I don't mind that decision because I think that's like a pre-snap. I have Justin Jefferson one-on-one. I don't care what down and distance it is. I'm trying to take advantage of Justin Jefferson, and I don't mind that aggression.
Yeah, that was some of the best plays from last year were basically that. It's like, it's 4th and 2, and Justin Jefferson has got press and single, and he's just like, yeah, I'm going to send this. What's the point
that's
of
probably the best completion odds we have.
So I get it.
On that pick 6, though, if I may go to my nerdy stat of the day. So
is this official? This is
the one I had prepared, but if you need me to do another one.
Analytics fans rejoice. It's time to get educated.
Whoa, you're blowing my mind right now.
With the nerdy stat of the day.
If there's one thing you have
We're contractually obligated to run that.
Yeah.
No, it's that Sam loves his toys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Kirk Cousins in this game had an EPA of minus 10.3, essentially saying that Kirk Cousins' performance cost the Vikings a little more than 10 points. If you look at
10.9 here,
I'm looking at RBSDM.
So am I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wonder how that happened. If you look at the play-by-play on RBS.com.
Oh, you're looking at passing dropbacks. I was looking at all Kirk Cousins plays. That's why.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Because he had a rush for 0 yards. Still
true that if you take away the pick 6, he would have had a positive EPA day. It is driven entirely by that one play, minus 11.3, a 99-yard pick 6. It was that impactful. And honestly, that feels kind of right. That that's a bad enough play to ruin your whole day, even if you do okay outside of it.
The pick 6 was worth 11. So turns out I just have these. The pick 6 was worth 11.3 expected points, which that does make sense. I think when you first learn about EPA and you learn that some plays are worth more than 7 points, you're just like, what?
Right.
But yeah,
because they were so close to scoring, they lost that opportunity and gave up 7 the other way. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they were close to. So they were about they had 4 expected points because it was late in the down, I think, or late downs, right? Late in the series. But yeah, so it's a negative 11.3. But here's the thing: if you take away the scoop and score for Bryce Young, he still finishes with negative EPA. So it turns out it's not always the case that a defensive score is the entirety of the reason for a negative EPA. Bryce Young ends up with I think negative 0.09 EPA per play once you take away his the scoop and score that's been credited to him. So Kirk Cousins mostly just the one play that turns him from positive to negative. Bryce Young, not the case.
And on a day where there were 3 good throws, really good throws in the game, Kirk makes a awesome play on the free play.
Yeah, I was about to say one of them, didn't even there was no downside, right? So he could just uncork it, which credit. So
I kind of feel like he would have anyways, because that look I mean, they were in single high. Justin Jefferson on a demonstrably small cornerback, as he would point out. I think he's firing that and it's 2nd and 1. I don't know. I feel like Kirk fires that one a lot, whether or not he's offsides.
Yeah, I think in a slightly different circumstance, you'd ask for a little bit better ball placement, but on a free play, I kind of don't care.
Sure.
So I will say that. Okay, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the free play thing. The Vikings have because I think was it 2 years ago we were criticizing them for not being able to use free plays. They just didn't do it. They would throw 3 yards on a free play, and you'd be like, why? And this year, it's so clear how much they've prepped for free plays. And he basically said that after the game. He's like, yeah, we've been looking for this. Yeah. But was it last week or 2 weeks ago where the refs it was neutral zone infraction and the refs called the play dead and he was just PO'd. He was like, come on, I had this. Finally.
I've got a nerdy stat of the day, my official nerdy stat of the day, also related to Kirk's performance. Kirk Cousins with 2 interceptions inside the opponent's 25-yard line. He moves past Warren Moon.
The yardage marker a little bit to make that work because that was at the 21.
No, this is good. Yeah, you should definitely manipulate your stats to make a point. That's what they're there for.
Same criteria for all the people on this list. I didn't move the goalpost just for Kirk. Just wanted to expand the search a little bit.
That's not how endpoint searching works, but okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, fine.
Well, who invented this arbitrary red zone, huh?
The point of the red zone is that it is arbitrary. That's why we get to use that.
So I'm saying, well, let's look 5 yards beyond. Let's break the field into quarters instead of fifths. Let's look at and football is a game of quarters, right? So we're looking at the final quarter of the field.
Easiest reasoning.
This is good. I like this.
Kirk Cousins with 2 interceptions in the final quartile of the field. Blows past Warren Moon and into 3rd place in team history with 9 interceptions in the 4th quartile. Would you like to get the top 2?
I would suggest expanding that to all turnovers because I imagine he moves from 3rd to 1st.
Reference or stat head did not
Joe Gibbs
did not isolate fumbles the way I needed him to. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's hard to get fumbles lost. Yeah.
Yep. So this is just interceptions. Joe Gibbs?
Yeah, apparently Joe Gibbs is credited with coining the term red zone. Although the term was used by Steve Esky as early as 1979. I thought it was an older term than that. But...
Yeah, I would have guessed what's the Pop Warner? That's it. I would have guessed Pop Warner.
Should have been the 25, Gibbsy.
Well,
is anybody going to do my latest guessing game? Who leads the team history? Most interceptions in the sort of reddish zone.
So this is career, right? Not in a season.
This is career.
So yeah, I probably can't pick Christian Ponder then.
Well, he was tied. Ponder was set at 7, tied with Kirk before yesterday.
Wow. All right.
Just on a volume thing, is it like Tarkenton?
It is not.
Okay. Nice.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's impressive. Culpepper?
Dante, runaway leader. 14.
Yeah.
Those are some pack-breaking picks. Number
Where's
2.
Favre on the list? Is he on the list?
Nah, he didn't play long enough.
T-Jack.
Good guess. Incorrect.
Rip.
Yep.
But actually rip.
Yeah.
Well.
Huh. Probably not Brad Johnson?
Brad Johnson.
Whoa! I was like, I just started searching when I was like, probably not Gus Frerotte. That can't be right.
Beautiful. And Brad Johnson can be passed this year with 2 more Kirk picks in the reddish hue quartiles.
Well, especially if it just keeps bouncing out of receivers' hands. I mean, that's
yeah, that'll help.
Keep throwing to KJ, man. It'll happen.
Shots fired. Hey, KJ,
I think
it's not even necessarily his fault, right? Because he threw the pick 6 to KJ. That's not KJ's fault. I'm just saying.
No,
it just seems to happen.
KJ outperformed Addison yesterday by And this is my other
Okay,
nerdy
but
stat
like
of the
Kirk
day.
underthrew him on the
By one
DPI. That's not
reception.
that's
Yeah.
not. Kirk underthrew him on the DPI. That's not fair. So someone asked me, did Addison have a bad game? And based off what I don't have the all-22 yet, or I haven't looked at it. I guess the all-22 is probably out. But I thought he got open with a fair amount of regularity relative to how much he's gotten open in previous games. Like, he's good for about one shot a game, and the Vikings I'm not going to say wasted it because they got downfield. I mean, they did waste it because of the pick six, but you just didn't get on the stat sheet for the DPI. You got open.
Is there a playoff path for the Minnesota Vikings? Let's talk about that.
Oh, is that after the? Sorry,
Arif will make the case after I remind folks that Locked On Sports Minnesota is a proud partner with SiriusXM. You can catch the Twins playoff games on the SiriusXM app, as well as the Locked On Sports Minnesota programming.
They're not playing the Yankees, man.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Yeah, aren't they? It's still possible for them to play the Astros, though, right?
If they
that
win,
feels about as cursed.
So yeah, but if they play the Astros, it means they won a game, and then it's gravy.
Hey, look at that!
Oh, okay,
at
first
that
time
point.
since what, 2004?
Yeah, 19
that,
years. Good
I don't know if you guys saw that video.
I know baseball.
I don't know if you saw the video by the guy. I think he now writes at Twins Daily, but he's somebody that made a John Boyce-esque video on that streak, and it is unbelievably good.
Yeah,
is this new? Is this like brand new, or
it's pretty new? It came out like last week.
Okay, yeah, let's check it out. Let's check our friends at Twins.
Put the link in the chat.
I'll find it. I'll find it
here.
Cool.
That'd be
because it's not just a playoff series; it's like a playoff game since 2000.
Yeah, and it is brutal. I have not really paid attention to the Twins since I was a kid, and I did not know about a lot of that. My soul was crying.
I don't think I'm going to enjoy this. Actually, I want you to send it. I'm not going to enjoy it because I lived and died with every single one of those 18 losses, and I'm prepared to die again this week.
That explains why you're like somehow 50 years old. That makes sense now.
The hair loss and the just lack of emotion. Yeah, all of it. Premature aging.
Yeah.
Because of the Twins. Can't wait. Can't wait for the playoffs this week.
Wait.
We'll have Twins.
It's art. We love art.
Twins postcasts after every game with Luke Inman and Brandon Warren. And also we're introducing a brand new, never before seen Minnesota basketball party starting this week as the Timberwolves ramp up for the regular season.
We'll talk about sad Minnesota franchises.
I mean, talk about so let's see. Twins haven't won a game since 2004. Wolves haven't won a series since 2004. I think. Yeah. Wow. Almost two decades of streaks.
Is that Cassell and Sprewell and
KG?
Wow.
Yep. They beat the Nuggets.
Wow, that takes me back. I did watch basketball back then. I still didn't watch baseball back then.
Mm-hmm. Is there a path to the Minnesota Vikings making the playoffs that you still see, other than just winning all their games?
What are your games?
In the real world, what is the path?
They're 500 since going 0-2. I don't see the problem.
Just break the season down into 2-game chunks.
Yeah.
The division is not that impressive to me. As soon as I was like, hey, Jared Goff actually might overcome my anti-Jared Goff bias, he's kind of impressive. Since then, he's not been that impressive, and he's been who I thought he was. So it was really, I just had to keep faith in my own observations. No, I mean, the division's not that impressive to me. Jordan Love is like bad. So there's that. And the Bears are, luck of all lucks, the Bears are in the Vikings division. So it's great news.
Yep, that's 2. Go 9-4 the rest of the way. That'll put you at 10-7.
Yeah, just lose to the Chiefs, shake that off, or I don't know. Like Mahomes is kind of weird and hurt. I don't know.
Maybe you can. You'll steal one you're not supposed to steal. You'll lose one you're not supposed to lose. That's kind of how it always goes.
Yeah,
a couple of tough. I mean, you got the Chiefs and 49ers on there, and like some tough games, and then you've got a whole bunch of other NFC North teams that are super beautiful.
Yeah.
Or another way to think about it is be within 2 games of the Lions come week 16. Because the Vikings play the Lions week 16 and week 18. So be in range there where if you take that series, you take the division, and then that's what we're talking about, right? Beat the Lions, win the division.
Yeah, let me lay it out like this.
Easy.
To get to that point,
Just got to stay in arm's reach.
Within striking range, and I don't know if the division is necessarily the like at this when you're 0-3, you're kind of shooting for a wild card. Like realistically, you might not be able to attain the division, and you can probably get that with 9 wins. If you beat Bears, Falcons, Saints, Broncos, Bears, Raiders.
If they don't go 3-0 against the Bears and Broncos, end it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Tank for Caleb. But that gets you to, if you win just those games and lose against every decent team, you're 7-7, and you've got the Lions, Packers, Lions sandwich.
Yes, you just got to steal 2, right?
And I don't think stealing one from San Fran or KC at home is the craziest thing in the world. Like, it might not be 50-50.
I mean, given
25%.
How weird Mahomes' throws looked yesterday. I mean, he's playing weird. Time to take advantage of him playing weird.
We can't rule out that the Bengals are also bad, and they're on the schedule.
They are. No, they're bad.
Will they be bad in December? I'm not sure about that.
Probably not. No, that's a good point. Yeah, Joe Burrow's calf is probably fixed by then.
But they look really bad.
Like, no, I mean, they look terrible, but I think a lot of that has to do with Joe Burrow's legs.
1-3, and their 1 was really rough.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a path.
They had 2 quarters of play. That's all they needed in that one.
There's a path, but you may have to stomach being 2-5 before you really get anything going.
Yeah, I'm gonna be writing all kinds of doomsday stuff by then, for sure.
Yeah.
We
love you for it.
Yeah, they have to like there are teams where like they don't have to win the games that they have to win, if that phrase makes sense to you. Like, oh, you got to win that game kind of thing. They don't have to win all of those games because they're good enough to overcome some of the other stuff. The Vikings have to win every game they have to win. Like, they cannot afford to slip up.
Yeah, they can't just like blow one against the Bears.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like, is on the table.
And that was one thing the Vikings did last year is they won all of those games. Like, and they messed with, obviously messed around.
Yeah, they screwed around, but they won.
Yeah, the Lions when the Lions weren't good yet, the Dolphins when they had Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater, like they goofed around in all these games and somehow came out on top. Yeah, can't do that this year.
And that's kind of a thing of the Vikings is it's what I've been saying the whole offseason is this is a team that can beat anyone and also lose to anyone. Like they can just kind of screw up and fart around and like just destroy any chance they have of winning a game, no matter how good the opponent is. But also they can just like randomly get a whole bunch of explosiveness.
Yeah, and I think this game is a good example. I mean, the Panthers team is a team that if the Vikings are serious about wanting to make the playoffs, you got to beat this team by more than one possession, right? Like that's crazy. That that's bye Luke. That you have to.
Sorry, the rabbits are going completely insane. I think you guys can hear it. I'm trying to make sure everything's all right.
We can't, but
all right. Well, that's
great because it makes you look even more insane.
Give us the play-by-play. I'd like to hear about.
Yeah, we not
rabbits
most
going
people.
crazy.
I think listen as opposed to watch on YouTube. Luke just like left the screen entirely. He just started walking around.
Do you talk to your rabbits the way that I would talk to my dog? Like, do you have commands for them? Do you have hand signals?
You can train them. We have not done this. But
I
right
think
now,
you're scared that
he's
if
chewing
they
on a wall.
develop intelligence, that they will exact retribution upon you. So I understand why you.
I've already sort of accepted that fate.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just a matter of time. But right now, she's attempting to chew a wall.
Anyway, the Vikings win over the Panthers was not convincing in any reasonable fashion, but it's a start.
I think winning on the road is always permitted to be ugly, though. That was my
Guess the
concern.
Panthers?
Yeah,
if they win ugly against the Bears on the
Vikings
road, you're
aren't
be like,
great.
bad Soldier Field. They always suck there. No, the Bears suck.
Yeah, the Chiefs also like won ugly against the Jets.
But they're the Chiefs, right? Like we don't have questions about them.
But the Vikings also aren't
good.
Zach Wilson played out.
The
Like,
Vikings
let's not
aren't
pretend Zach
good.
Wilson didn't play the game of his life, right? Like that's part of the reason the Chiefs won ugly is because Zach Wilson went sicko mode, right? Like that's crazy.
if you want to use Vegas odds, taking the money lines for the 49ers and Chiefs, and let's say, can they steal one of those two? So if you were to parlay the 49ers and Chiefs money lines there, you'd get plus 117. So the idea being that the Vikings are a little bit better than a coin flip to be able to steal one as an upset based on the Vegas lines. Although I feel like those are going to move, because right now at FanDuel, the Vikings are only underdogs by 5.5 points. And that feels like that's going to go up.
Yeah.
Did you mention FanDuel? Did you mention parlays? We have to talk about our parlays from the weekend, and we have another one in the win column, and it is me. Arif is now 1-3. Luke Braun is now 1-3. I am now 1-3. And Luke Inman, who has only made his own picks twice, is 0-4. Though we did put him on a winning Jaguars number, so he can't be too mad at us. But I hit Titans plus 2.5. They covered that spread by a mere 26 points. And 49ers scoring first and winning the game, which got a little dicey there for a minute, but they poured it on late. So I gained $192. I still trail Arif and Luke, who had better hits than me previously. Arif is the leader at $1,230. That's dollars, and Braun with 1,135. So the playing field is tightening. Look out.
Okay.
Look out. I'm a freight train. I got the winning formula now.
I had Kelsey anytime touchdown and Chiefs covering the spread. Both of those did not hit.
They did not.
A lot of conspiracies. Mahomes. Yep, a lot of conspiracies about Patrick Mahomes taking that slide. Vegas.
Extremely dumb conspiracies. People who don't understand football, but
just like McVay was rigging the week prior with the field goal.
Said the script dictates that the Jets need to cover this one. Sorry.
That's what the script says.
Yep.
The newest best part of Chiefs games are the photos and or videos of Brittany Mahomes just looking totally upstaged. And
I don't think she ever thought of herself as the protagonist of Chiefs games.
I think she's the first lady of Kansas City. I think that was kind of her thing.
I don't think so. I think people hate her way too much.
And I've defended her after the documentary. I said she was not nearly as bad as I expected.
The expectations that you have are part of my objections, right? Like
she seems like a normal person.
Yeah, that's like, it's just like the camera's on her a lot, and suddenly everyone like hates her for celebrating her husband's successes. Like, okay. Jackson, I get. It turns out he's like legitimately not a good person based off of the public information that we have, which may or may not be accurate because that's what celebrity culture is. But based off of that public information, Jackson may not be a good person. Fine. But like Brittany, whatever. So yeah, she got upstaged by the biggest musical celebrity on the planet. Okay. Blake Lively and Hugh Jackman were there too. So was Ryan Reynolds. Nice little entourage. Very funny. Yeah, it was like because like the storyline talk about scripted. The storyline has been about Taylor Swift, right? And so people are down at the field level watching her, walk in, and they've got all the cameras, and they're like, "Hey, Taylor Swift has arrived," and like Wolverine is like right behind her, right? And everyone's like, "Taylor Swift is here." It's like that's Deadpool. Which like maybe I shouldn't reduce Hugh Jackman to Wolverine. He's extraordinary in so many things, but I mean that's probably the thing he's now best known for, which kind of sucks. He was pretty great.
The Prestige. It's got to be the Prestige.
Yeah. Awesome.
How great though to be a celebrity of that stature, to be able to just like slink in the background and not be on anyone's radar, and the paparazzi doesn't care about you.
To enjoy a football game.
You just get to be a normal guy.
Yeah, you still don't get to screw up though, because then the paparazzi suddenly does care about you. So that is an important caveat, but yeah, that's got to be nice.
Yeah, you can't be the person that like spills cocktail sauce on Taylor Swift
or Donna Kelsey.
Yeah,
probably. True. Which also, why is Jake from State Farm a person that we're treating like as a celebrity? That's crazy.
His name's not even Jake.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You knew
Real name.
you had to know that sports broadcasts would not know how to handle this with any
The Taylor Swift thing or the
Yeah.
State Farm thing?
like the idea of now it being a huge thing that there is like a celebrity at these games. You knew that sports broadcasts would like take it too far and be like, also Jake from State Farm is here. Like you knew that they would fumble this and do some like weird cringy stuff.
Richard Deitch wrote a good story on this at The Athletic, by the way, about how it all came together for Fox.
I'm going to read it, which maybe that's part of the problem. But it's just someone quote tweeted like the screenshot of the broadcast showing Donna Kelsey next to State Farm. And they were like, yeah, I can't explain how much Americans just love commercials. And it's like, yeah, that I can't. Yep. We're done.
Yeah.
We care about flow from Progressive. That's a thing that we care about. Right?
Yeah.
like
and her lore.
And her lore. Like it's just a thing now that we tried to make the Geico caveman into a show. Like that we're done. And I'm only talking about insurance commercials. Maybe the most boring product to exist.
That Aflac duck has a family, Arif.
Dude, our understanding of Deion Sanders and Nick Saban's friendship is based off of Aflac commercials. They are
You're not wrong.
Coaches in the same, they are actual friends, right? They are coaches in the same industry, and we're like, yeah, they love each other. Look at the Aflac commercials.
It's so good.
It's where we are. Again, just insurance products I'm talking about right now.
So that's our unofficial party foul, it sounds like, from the weekend. Let's do the official one.
It's time to tell you who spilled their proverbial drink on the sofa. Get ready for this week's party foul.
Biggest faux pas of the week in your personal or professional lives, or something you just saw on TV or in a game that you thought was funny. Luke Braun.
I'm confident I have bigger ones, but the ones that come to mind are ones we kind of already discussed, which is not the overcharacterization of commercial characters, but rather the conspiracies around the NFL and Taylor Swift, I guess. Dove Kleiman tweeted out that it's not a good look for the NFL to tweet out that the Chiefs are 2-0 since they became Swifties or something like that, which, yeah, it is. It's a great look, actually.
Oh,
what are
man.
you talking about?
Robots are at it again.
Yeah, and then he like tweeted out a picture of Mahomes sliding because actually it improves his odds of winning by sliding instead of scoring a touchdown. So that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
like
the conspiracies about that are so funny.
Like the
think
goal
about it
is
for like 2 seconds.
right, and also like how do people think gambling works? By the way, like the idea that coaches will manipulate the point spread just generally is dumb because like Vegas for the most part benefits from either outcome, right? Like
Right.
the idea that like there were a bunch of people betting the Jets spread, like if anything, the public money was on the other side, right? It was on the Chiefs.
Public money's on the favorites, yeah.
Yeah. So like how does that work, by the way? So I don't understand how, and that's not the only conspiracy, right? There's other conspiracies floating around, but they all center around this idea that because the Chiefs and Taylor Swift are like aligned right now, that there is some sort of like way to conspire for them. Again, I don't even know what the goal. This sucks.
This would be better presented as an astrology take, I think.
Yeah, that's which it has been.
Yeah.
It's much better content that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my party foul.
My party foul goes to the Chicago Bears. Whoa, guys. Just woo. Yeah,
hey, Justin Fields had a pretty good game.
Great. He also threw it away. This Chase Claypool thing where he's now not even in the facility. He was asked to stay home, and it definitely has nothing to do with the fact that he called out his coaches for saying that he was being used incorrectly despite being visibly bad at everything.
He chose to stay home, but then actually no, he was asked to stay home, but it was still his choice. It can't even. They can't even message this thing properly.
It is incredible that after everything that has happened with the Vikings whiffing out on Lewis Cine, getting usurped by Theo Jackson, it looks so bad that the next year's use of pick 32 was this much worse. It's incredible. And that's like not even the worst thing that happened to the Bears, because they blew a huge lead against the other worst team in the league. Oh my God, Chicago. I mean, I've never seen a fan base go so quickly. Like, look, everybody gets super optimistic in the preseason, right? Everybody's like, well, maybe we can win 10 games and win the division. Every single team.
I see it. I see the path. Will say that.
Yeah. Always. And that's fine. That's lovely. And it's part of it. I've never seen a team go so quickly from the future is bright, we're going to run the league in 2 years, to maybe we should fire everyone. I mean, they like instantly snapped there. And hey, getting blown out by the Packers will do weird things to your brain. I get it. But oh my God, Bears, pull it together.
That's the thing, is like, I think the part of the reason is because the Bears are not the worst team in the NFL. They just happen to lose to the worst team in the NFL, right? Like, that's the reason it, like, because I just feel like with a competent, which is part of the team, so maybe that's not the fair way to put it, but like with any halfway competent coaching, they destroy the Broncos. Not close, right? And that's not because the Bears are good or talented. It's because the Broncos are abysmal. They have the worst defense in the history of the NFL through 4 games. It's not like there's no.
Yeah, it's insane that the Bears are capable of what they've done, and it's just it's so compressed too. It's October 2nd.
Yeah, like we're
having existential crises here.
The Chase Claypool thing is like maybe 5th on the list of the problems that we've identified with the Bears in the past 2 weeks.
Like, if something like that happened to this Vikings season, it would be like a top story of the entire season of like, hey, remember that was the year where the wide receiver got asked to stay home because he wouldn't shut up about the coaches and he sucked that bad? Like, that would be like the thing of things. And I feel like Bears reporters have to be like, yeah, that's crazy. Anyways, okay, we've got way bigger fish to fry.
Anyway, the FBI was not involved. Right.
I would also, I should shout out Locked On Bears today is beautiful. Lauren Cox does a great job. Ooh. He's already calling for Matt Eberflus's head. He's probably right.
Speaking of,
I gotta go
Matt
watch
Eberflus was not prepared to answer Chase Claypool questions after the game, which is like, I get
this keeps happening to him.
I get that you just coached a game, right? I get that you expect most of your questions to be about the game. I get it. But like, you have to have an answer to this thing, right? Like, this guy went off for like, I forget how many yards, 100 yards. I forget. He had a pretty good game the week before, even though we all kind of understand that he's on the outs, but like, he had a pretty good game the week before. And, you know, he's not here. He's a healthy and active, and he's been asked to stay home. Maybe? Let's find out. That's so weird, dude, that you aren't even prepared to. Like, you could have just said, hey, this is a personnel thing. I'm here to talk about the game. If you want to talk about personnel, I'll be available on Monday. But for right now, we're focused on this loss, this catastrophic loss that we just took to the. Let's talk about that. I think Justin Fields is a great leader, right? Like, just do that, right?
It feels like something organizationally breaking happens to them every day.
Someone tweeted out, and I don't even know if this is accurate because you can't tell, given that you could just buy blue checks now. So I don't know if this is a real story, but it felt real, which most of the time doesn't mean anything. It just means that we're bad at interpreting news. But this time I'm going to take.
But you thought it was.
Yeah, it says a lot about society that I believe it. But it was Justin Fields after everyone had left, stayed in uniform and in the locker room and just had a 30-yard stare, vacant, just the whole time.
Yeah, that doesn't sound wild enough to be a lie.
Right, exactly. It's just like
fair, man.
I can believe that he was contemplating infinitude for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
This is definitely diminished by the whole Bears conversation, but I thought this was kind of low-key hilarious at the end of the game yesterday. Adam Thielen freaking out about
Do we know what
an
he tweeted out
intentional
about?
grounding on
Oh,
the
yeah.
most textbook non-intentional grounding that you can possibly have. A controlled throwaway where Kirk rolled out, got out of the pocket, and threw it out of bounds to end the game. And Thielen was incensed. It was
Well, I mean, you
It-
can't get any more intentional than planning it before the snap, right?
Right.
That's,
right, like so clearly not an intentional grounding. And what would have happened then if they call intentional grounding there? Does the ball
The end of the
exchange
game.
hands?
It's still the end of the game.
it's the end of the game.
Yeah, because it's not a
Yeah.
defensive penalty, so the game can end on it.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
it is not a dead ball penalty. So the clock had
Yeah.
been expired when the penalty was committed.
Yeah, so it's like that loophole where like the Ravens held on the final play of the game and took a safety, and that was the end of the game. You guys remember seeing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those loopholes. But anyway, that was a party foul, Thielen. Calm
That's
down.
funny. I mean, in the truest sense of the word, it was intentional grounding, right? Like we can
Yeah.
acknowledge that it didn't violate
grounding
the intentional
had
grounding
intent,
rule,
yes.
but he did intend to ground it
Mhm.
Yeah.
before the snap. So Thielen
It was
is
as
a
much
believer-
intentional grounding as a spike would be.
Right. Thielen is a believer in the spirit of the law. I think we've all learned that his
Sure.
legal theories are built off of originalism more than textualism.
Oh my god.
Arif is on a roll. I don't even want to end the show because of how much of a roll you're on, but
We got
it has to be done. It has to be done.
Lucas
tomorrow-
died.
Originalist Adam Thielen broke me. I can't do it anymore.
Ron Johnson Show returns tomorrow with Gophers Jack Henderson, the guest. Wednesday, we debut the Minnesota basketball party, and Thursday, the Minnesota football party returns with Arif, Luke, probably the other Luke Inman, and Ron Johnson. Big thanks to all who watched and listened today. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Find the audio on the Locked On Vikings feed, and we'll talk to you next time.